Welcome back. In this presentation, I will go over Chapter 2 of the NCRP Portfolio Guide. I will be reading the text of the Chapter 2 as it is written. It is your responsibility to compare your completed sections with the grading rubric in the chapter because I will not be reading the no credit columns of the tables. You have the option of reading along with me, reading it to yourself, or just listening to the audio files. Chapter 2, Writing a Portfolio. NCRP graduate students have the option of producing a project instead of the traditional research thesis. The portfolio is a form of project. The California State University Education Code defines a project as a, quote, a significant undertaking appropriate to the fine and applied arts or to the professional fields. It evidences originality and independent thinking, appropriate form and organization, and rationale. It is described and summarized in a written abstract that includes the project's significance, objectives, methodology, and conclusion or recommendation, unquote. Whereas a thesis is entirely a research or archival-based study, a portfolio is more creative or applied in nature. All portfolios must evidence originality, creative thinking, and scholarship, in addition to representing the artistic or professional capabilities of the candidate. While requirements for various types of projects will vary, certain elements are common to all portfolios. These elements are described on the following pages and must be thoroughly addressed. As previously stated in Chapter 1 of the guide, a portfolio is not sufficient in itself to meet the requirements of a culminating activity. Although the content and structure are more flexible for a portfolio than for a thesis, all portfolios consist of two distinct components. A, the body, which includes reviews and reflections about how program learning outcomes were mastered, and B, appendixes containing artifacts supporting the reflections. The scholarly framework introduces, justifies, and validates the artifacts. The portfolio advisor should be consulted early in the process of planning the portfolio to ensure that the required elements are included in the scholarly framework. Only use digital files when the media cannot be imported into Microsoft Word. Digital artifacts may be presented in a variety of appropriate compressed media. Digital files must be small enough for file transfer, protocol, or download. The following pages present the elements of a scholarly framework that are required for portfolios. These elements should be evident to all readers. Title. The title should summarize the written future program. It should be a simple and unique statement about how the author will apply the graduate degree in NCRP. Examples of good portfolio titles are Tactics for Negotiating with Hoarders, Conflict Resolution Needs Assessment in Hospital Trauma Centers, or Using Peace Building to Resolve Water Rights Disputes. The title should be easily shortened to become the running head of the portfolio. The title puts a novel stamp on each portfolio. Abstract. The primary function of the abstract is to provide a brief overview of the portfolio for the reader. The abstract describes the portfolio's significance, objectives, and a conclusion or recommendation. It allows the reader to see how the author used unique artifacts to demonstrate NCRP program outcomes, reflected on the outcomes, and created an original written future program. The portfolio abstract should include the essential features of the program review, how the reflections demonstrate mastery of the program learning outcomes, and how the future program shows an original contribution to the practice of NCRP. The abstract should begin on a new page. The label Abstract should appear at the top of the page. The abstract should range from 150 to 250 words. It is double-spaced and not indented. Any keywords, special terms, or abbreviations used in the scholarly framework or project crucial to understanding or interpreting the work should be clearly defined at the end of the abstract. Curriculum vitae. The curriculum vitae is the Latin expression that can be loosely translated as course of life. The CV may integrate professional objectives, education, and experiences, include graduate and undergraduate education, list certifications and awards, document experiences relevant to practicing NCRP, describe academic activities such as conference presentations, publications, teaching, and research interests, or list special skills or fluency in foreign languages. Table 1. Curriculum vitae rubric. Category: Content. To receive credit, the candidate demonstrates knowledge of NCRP in the following areas: research interest, education, experience, recognition and awards, presentations, publications, professional associations and activities, community involvement, communication skills, organization. The vita is logically organized with headings and seriation. There should be no errors in grammar, spelling, and mechanics. The CV looks professional. The spacing, seriation, font size, emphasis, and justification of the CV does not need to follow the publication of the American Psychological Association. Furthermore, incomplete or fragmented sentences are allowable in the CV. The CV must use the same font and page margins as the rest of the portfolio. Introduction. The primary function of the introduction is to provide a comprehensive overview of the portfolio for the reader. Included is an explanation of why the portfolio was attempted and identifies interest or professional needs that the portfolio seeks to satisfy. It also defines what the portfolio is in terms of content and format, includes specific information regarding the subject matter. Furthermore, the introduction must provide a clear explanation of the importance of the future program in the student's field of study or discipline and a description of the new dimensions, techniques, concepts, or findings presented in the work. The portfolio introduction should describe the purpose of the portfolio, the methodology for organizing each course review, describe how the reviews provide the gist of the lectures, readings, simulations, discussions, and assignments, the scholarly organization of your reflections, your methodology for selecting and creating your written future program, the method used to create a CV that demonstrates the ability to practice NCRP, and the methodology for selecting artifacts, and how they are aligned to the program learning outcomes. The introduction should describe the methodology used to create and organize your portfolio in a scholarly manner. The length of the introduction should range from 2 to 3 pages. NCRP Program Review. The program review consists of a 2 to 3 page summary for each course in the NCRP program. The program reviews includes highlights in each of the required courses, including NCR 500, 503, 504, 507, 508, 522, and either 525, 527, or 544, plus at least one elective course representing the student's particular interest in the field. The program review should cover the learning outcomes listed on each course syllabus, be organized with headers, include an original interpretation of the course in the student's own words, and include citations to the course text. The majority of each course review should be paraphrased or written in the student's own words. Quotations or paraphrases from cited course references must follow APA quotation of source guidelines. Long quotations, meaning greater than 30 words, should be rare. In sum, the bulk, or 80% of each course review, must be in the author's own words. Each course review should be approximately 2 pages. No course review should exceed 3 pages. The page range for the program review is a minimum of 16 pages and a maximum of 24 pages. Any program review that does not fall within the 16 to 24 page range will be returned to the author for revision. Table 2, Course Review Rubric. To receive credit, detailed review and analysis of the most important learning outcomes should be listed from the course syllabi. The review is logically organized with headings, seriation, sequence, signal words. Originality. The review should be unbalanced with a majority of space used for paraphrases of course content or reflections of the student's unique experiences, and a minority of space used for quoted material. Participation. Each summary of research papers, presentations, discussions, or significant contributions the student made during the class. It describes participation in the role plays, simulations, and other class activities. Citations should include lectures and references cited according to APA Publication Manual. It includes citations and references to all assigned textbooks. There should be no errors in grammar, spelling, or mechanics. And all reviews and references are cited according to the APA Publication Manual. NCRP Program Learning Outcome Mastery Reflections. The scholarly framework must contain reflections about how each NCRP program learning outcome was mastered. In the reflections, the students will demonstrate the ability to bring ethnic, cultural, religious, creative, critical, ethical, historical, and humanitarian understanding to problem solving in this new millennium. B. Demonstrate the ability to appropriately select and apply tools of negotiation to conflict resolution and peace building in order to achieve personal, community, national, and international goals. C. Demonstrate as a conflict participant the ability to negotiate through mediation a peaceful resolution that meets or exceeds predetermined goals, and as a neutral, the ability to mediate to bring two or more parties to a successful, peaceful agreement. D. Demonstrate the ability to find, read, understand, and objectively, as well as critically, evaluate education materials concerning specific conflicts and their causes. E. Demonstrate the ability to integrate theoretical, analytical, research, and practical skills by analyzing the sources and dynamics of specific conflicts. F. Demonstrate the ability to write clear, concise, coherent, and correct prose, evidencing critical thinking at the graduate level. The reflections will describe personal experiences, course activities, readings correlated with each learning outcome. The author will cite one artifact that is closely aligned to each program learning outcome. Each artifact will be placed in an appendix labeled with the same letter as the reflection. For example, Reflection A, which focuses on the author's mastered the problem-solving process, will cite Appendix A, which contains an instructor-graded artifact dealing with problem-solving. Table 3. The NCRP Program Learning Outcome Mastery Reflection Rubric. The criteria for credit on the program learning outcomes are analyzing each program learning outcome. Reflection systematically breaks a learning outcome down to its simplest parts or variables. The student describes how learning outcomes were mastered through coursework, personal experiences, and professional application. The reflection is logically organized. The reflection is unbalanced, with a majority of space, greater than 80%, used for paraphrases of course content or reflections of the student's unique experiences, and a minority of space is used for quoted material. Connection to artifacts. The student specifically cites an artifact in the portfolio's appendix, describes how the artifact demonstrates a mastery of the learning outcome. Limitations. The student describes any limitations the artifact has to meeting the program learning outcomes. The premise supports the conclusions. Reflections are objectively written in a logical manner. Citations. Lectures and references are cited according to the APA Publication Manual. Grammar, spelling, and mechanics. It should have no errors, and all references must follow the same manuscript format. Consistent format, margins, spacing, organization, and typeface should be obvious to the portfolio reader. The NCRP Program Learning Outcome Mastery Reflection should include coursework dealing with the learning outcomes, relevant literature, related personal experiences, a correlation between the learning outcome and supporting artifact, limitations to mastering the learning outcomes, and how mastering the learning outcome will enhance the author's skills as an NCRP practitioner. The student must complete a reflection for each program outcome for a total of 6 reflections. Each reflection should be 1 complete page. The page range for all reflections should be no less than 6 and no more than 8. Each reflection will start on a new page and have a title of reflection, or the letter of the learning outcome, short title of the reflection, which is underlined and centered at the top of the page. Future program. The scholarly framework must contain a written future program proposal. The written future program is a thoughtful, extensive written outline detailing how the student might continue to develop and apply all of this through the work in the field. Table 4, NCRP Future Program Rubric. Content. For credit, the student needs to summarize a plan to further develop and apply knowledge and skills learned in the NCRP program. The title should be simple, brief, and unique branding about how the author will practice NCRP. The organization. The future program is logically organized with headings, seriation, and sequence of signal words. The future program should be a meaningful contribution to negotiation, conflict resolution, and peace building. The program is directly related to NCRP and applies multidisciplinary concepts. It describes how the author will make a meaningful contribution to advance the practice or provide services to disputants. The future program needs to have a reasonable and sufficient scope. The program takes into account the consideration of financial, geographic, and social networking limitations. The future program is conducive of postgraduate school accomplishment. The program is realistically doable. The implementation mode should include the problem-solving process. Consideration of constituents. The future program needs to consider the impact on human subjects, disputants, or political resources needed to implement the program. Citations. References and similar plans are cited according to the APA publication manual, and there should be no errors in grammar, spelling, or mechanics. The student may choose among the following formats for a future program. They can do an executive summary of a business plan, project proposal summary, needs assessment for conflict resolution services, program evaluation, research proposal, strategic plan, projection of what the vitae will look like. References. References are compiled according to the publication manual of the American Psychological Association and must include every source cited in the portfolio, including material that has been adopted for use in tables and figures. Appendices and artifacts. Place the artifacts supporting the learning outcomes in appendices A through F. Label each appendix with the same letter as the corresponding reflection of program learning outcome. Each appendix must contain an assignment that received a passing grade from an NCRP faculty member. The student may revise the artifact and must correct any errors in grammar, usage, or mechanics. Artifacts do not need to follow the publication manual of the American Psychological Association for format. All citations in the artifact must clearly differentiate the author's words from the words of the references. Each artifact with citations must include a reference section. Artifacts may include, but are not limited to, a literature review, presentation slides, mediation or negotiator code of ethics, a conflict case study, or a dispute resolution system design. A total page count of all appendices may not exceed 100 pages. There is no minimum number of pages for the appendices. However, there must be exactly 6 appendices. Each appendix may contain more than one artifact to demonstrate an outcome. Each appendix must start on a new page and have a title of appendix with the letter of the learning outcome, a short title that correlates with the reflection in the body of the portfolio, and it must be centered at the top of the page. Digital files may be attached when the media cannot be imported into Microsoft Word. Digital artifacts must be presented in an appropriate compressed media that can be downloaded or emailed. Table 5, NCRP Portfolio Artifacts. To receive credit for the portfolio artifacts, each artifact should be aligned to the program learning outcome. The main idea of the artifact addresses one of the key concepts in the learning outcome. The artifact must be cited in at least one of the reflections. The artifacts come from a course in the NCRP program and have received a passing grade from the instructor. For originality, the whole artifact was created by the candidate. The artifact passes through a software screening. Turn it in for originality. Logic and objectivity. The premises support the conclusions and reflections are objectively written. The citations. The literature is cited according to the APA publication manual. Corrections. Students makes corrections. Suggestions by the original course instructor. Students should also proofread and make corrections to obvious errors. The spelling, grammar, and mechanics meets the grading criteria established by the course instructor, and obvious errors should be omitted. For style, the style should follow the style or format assigned by the course instructor. Pages are numbered, sub-appendixes are identified and appropriately organized. Thank you for listening to Chapter 2 of the NCRP Portfolio Guide dealing with the parts of the portfolio. Please email me if you find any errors, accidental omissions, or contradictions in this lecture. I look forward to clarifying any details which may confuse you.